Hey, I'm Ross.
And I'm Jonathan.
Hey, this last one we're going to talk about what it means to be a church that neighbors well. Pastor and author Brian Mavis came in and he actually told us a story, this group of pastors we had together, of how his church was approached by the city where they are to go in, kind of care for a specific house and family that wasn't really able to take care of their yard. Their house was kind of in trouble, and neighbors had been complaining and asking for the city to step in, and they just didn't have the resources. So they actually called Brian's church, which is really cool, right? They'd said, hey, we know that you're a church that loves our city. Would you help this family out? So they sent some people over to knock on the door and get to know what the story was, and they found this widowed woman who had a troubled story of just going through cancer and couldn't take care of her house because she was trying to care for kids, and it's a really sad story. And so the church came around her, fixed up her yard, her house, took care of her, brought meals, things like that. It was really an awesome story. And so Brian tells the story as, we get to kind of pat ourselves on the back.
Right.
Say, hey, we're the kind of church the city calls, when people are in trouble. This is awesome. And he had this thing in his mind that he kept thinking that, maybe God wanted him to explore that a little more. Mm-hmm. And so he did some digging, and he found out that they had 3 people within a block of that person's house that attended their church. And so there were 3 people who could have noticed what was happening in their neighbors' lives, and they didn't.
Right.
It took the city calling the pastors to get the work done. And so his point is basically, what are we doing as church leaders to equip our people to go out and be neighbors and to see these needs and to meet them without church leadership having to step in and saying, okay, do this.
Right. What if everybody who attended your church had the full resources of the church at their disposal for doing the mission of God in your city? Wow. You would find that your congregation kind of has a much further reach than your church as an organization or as an institution. They exist not just in one place, but all over the city, in multiple neighborhoods, probably, maybe even in multiple cities. That kind of opens up the opportunity for some pretty exciting things that you could imagine. I heard about this church that had a section of their lobby that had a big sign over it that said "Start Something," and church members could come there with needs that they had noticed in the city and ideas for meeting those needs in their neighborhood or wherever, and they could sort of submit their idea of, here's what I want to do, whether it's starting a small business to employ people who don't have jobs, or creating some kind of ministry within their sphere of influence. And the idea would go before sort of a board of people, and they would approve the idea and then provide some coaching to that person. And during that process, the full resources of the church would become available to the person who had submitted the idea. You can use office space here at the church. You can make requests for financial things, but our church is behind you. We're going to empower you to do what you feel like God is calling you to do in your neighborhood and in your city. And that's just such a exciting picture of God's people being mobilized to participate in His mission. And I would feel like it would be kind of a relief to the pastor and to the staff of the church that
should be good news, right?
Instead of like me having to constantly try to get people involved in what we're trying to do and sort of like pull them along to volunteer in their spare time, they're coming to us and saying, hey, here's the thing that I want to do, and all I need you to do is just provide a little bit of resource here or there, provide me some coaching, but I'm going to do the work, and I just need your help, instead of the church leader saying, I'm going to do the work, I need your help.
And just imagine what it would look like in a city for multiple churches to start doing things like that start to focus on, how can we just equip you and send you out to be the best neighbor you can be, whether it's the people who are around you or it's the people that have a need. We're just going to get behind you. That would start to really make a huge impact in the city.